We are live now. Great. I'm just going to give folks a couple minutes to get logged in here on Discord or YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're following us, X. Welcome to all those joining us. Just going to give it another minute until we get the green light from our team. Folks are getting signed in here. All right, hopefully folks are getting logged in to Discord or StreamYard or YouTube, X, wherever you're watching us from. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, please feel free to drop questions or comments in the chat if you're experiencing any trouble. And do a quick check with Mar and team. Ready to kick off? All right. Well, great. Thank you. And welcome everybody to Tech for Palestine's community call. We have a number of exciting updates we want to share with you. Many of you are returning, so thanks for joining us again. For those of you that are new to the community, welcome. Tech for Palestine is a nonprofit tech incubator supporting pro-Palestinian projects. And we'll talk a little bit more about the types of projects we support and the impact we've had to date. We're super excited to have both new folks and returning folks joining us. The call is being recorded on T4P social media, and it'll be streamed live. We definitely encourage questions in chat, so feel free to drop them in wherever you're viewing us, and we have folks monitoring the chat, and we'll be able to respond to your questions real time. Today we have a few things we'll cover with you. We'll get an update from Paul Bigger, T4P founder. Mohammed will share with us what's happening in the incubator and give us an update on some exciting new projects that we have. I'll talk about some volunteering opportunities and areas where we could definitely use some support from the community. And Tom will talk to us about kind of what's happening in the news and some updates on the tech summit that we just had in the Bay Area. With that, I am going to pass it. Is it Tom? Are you going to cover some org updates and tech news, I believe?
Yeah, I don't think we have tech news today, but we do have a summit overview and an upscroll. So yeah, hi everybody. As you may know, we had our inaugural Tech for Palestine summit in London last year with about 100 people, and that was fun, and we learned a lot and had a lot of good connections there. We did our inaugural US one in Mountain View, California, a few weeks ago, and This one was a little bit bigger. We had about 500 or 600 attendees. We had 12 panel sessions throughout the day with 19 different speakers. We had founders, CEOs, communication professionals, advisors, educators, activists, just all walks of life there. Some of the people who I was really happy to meet and hear from are our keynote speaker, Amjad Masad, who's responsible for building the company Replit, which makes a really good AI-assisted coding platform. Hani Al-Madoun, who's from UNRWA USA and also runs Gaza Soup Kitchen. Just a really great guy and really interesting to listen to. And then a senatorial candidate from my own state of Michigan was there, Abdul Al-Sayed, in his professional capacity, not as a political capacity. But it was good to be able to meet and talk to him and listen to him talk as well. Also, activists like Greg Stoker and Josephine Gilbo were there. Content creators like Riverwand and Queen of Palestine, both of whom you really should follow on social media if you're not already, as well as others were there. And then projects, of course, that we incubate at Tech for Palestine, such as Revolutionized Brands, who makes really incredible coats with Tatriz patterns and such, and Wasla Connect, just to name a couple of the projects that were there. So it was a great time. A lot of people had a good experience. There was good food. There was music. There was dancing, apparently, after I went back to my hotel because I couldn't stay standing for another hour. But yeah, we had all kinds of panels, all kinds of interesting discussions. One of those pictures there was me moderating a panel called Leading with a Moral Compass. And that was with Amir Nathuz, on the founder of OutSchool and on our board, as well as the CEO of The Intercept, Annie Chable, and another founder from a blockchain company whose name is escaping me at the moment. But yeah, good panel and lots of interesting information went around the whole time. And then we wrapped up with Issam Hijazi giving an introduction to Upscrolled, which is another project that we have incubated. And then Aza got up and closed us out by talking about Tech for Palestine's new membership model. So we'll probably hear more about that later. But yeah, that was the summit. It was a lot of fun. We are in the process of putting together the next one, which is probably going to be in April. Well, it's definitely going to be in April and in Barcelona, but the date's not set yet. So keep your eye out for that one. Should be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, so speaking of Upscrolled, so when Issam came to us last summer, he had built this social media app that was kind of a combination of Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. And he gave us a demo of it. And, our first thought, of course, was like, this is a very, very hard thing to do, to compete with these billionaire companies that run social medias, but also something really important because there's so much shadow banning and censorship of pro-Palestinian voices on mainstream social media. It really seems important to have an alternative that commits to not doing those things. So when Issam introduced us to Upscroll, there were 70 users, 70, mostly his family and friends. And I think I'm like user number 75, perhaps. But within 6 months, he had built that user base up to 150,000. And I actually sat on a panel about digital rights with Issam at ArabCon last year. And trust me when I say that every single person that this guy meets, he encourages them to download Upscrolled and create an account. So he's a really dedicated sales guy. So he built that user base up to 150K, by the skin of his teeth. And then a few weeks ago, the TikTok sale went through. They spun off the US part of their business to a consortium run by Larry Ellison's Oracle private equity firm Silver Lake and Abu Dhabi based investment company MGX. And they just immediately started heavy censorship of anti-Zionist and pro-Palestinian content. And that inspired a couple or a few influencers to just get out there and really promote Upscrolled. And so I think it was a week and a half after the summit, Issam was on stage in Qatar at Web Summit, and he announced that they had surpassed 2.5 million users. So pretty incredible growth, going from 150K to 2.5 million in less than 2 weeks. So there were some technical glitches to be expected, some growth. A lot of this was, Issam building this on his own. So he's, building a plane as he's flying it now, because there's millions of users, lots of activity and participation, and it's just really, it's really great. So I think that's all I have immediately about Upscroll. But yeah, so if you're not already on Upscroll, download it. It's available on iOS and Android, and you can create an account and start leaving Instagram in the dust. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Mohamed, who's going to tell us about some of the new projects that have recently joined the incubator. Take it away, Mohamed.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Just organizing my screen. And we do have a bunch of projects that have been onboarded to the incubator since we have last met. And this was, I think, the last time we presented projects was back in November. So since then, if I counted correctly, there's about 15 projects that have come onto the incubator. That's quite a number. So today we'll only be covering 8 out of those. And it's quite a diverse set of projects. I'm very happy after having taken a break to come back and read some of these applications. It's quite inspiring. So that said, let's start with the first one, the Palestinian visual arts created during the war. What I personally find interesting about art that is born out of struggle and pain is that it tends to communicate a stronger message that goes straight to the heart. It provokes us to care, or at least show interest in the cause that this art touches upon. So what is this project? It's creating an online platform to showcase the visual arts that is created by Palestinian artists since October 2023. The founder has gathered paintings, sketches, other forms of visual art from notable artists, whether they are in Gaza, they are in the West Bank, or in the Palestinian diaspora. The founder will not just stop at a website. This sounds like a simple idea, might be just bland, boring, a website with some artwork, but they will go on to organize exhibitions, physical exhibitions throughout the world, publish the artwork as a book, and drive a marketing campaign that gathers writers, artists, and it intends to get global audiences to appreciate the Palestinian struggle and culture, and what he calls the therapeutic process of using art as a means of expression. The founder is an expert on public policy, sustainability, and everything ESG. So it pays off to be interested in the arts on the side. And the project is still in its early days as a concept. The next one is canine legal action. Um, some of the most horrifying stories that we've heard about during the or since the beginning of the genocide um, had involved dogs essentially, and Zionist-trained canines have terrorized, maimed, even raped Palestinian prisoners, children, and elderly women, and in one case there was a special needs young man. So our founder is just as disgusted as the rest of us are by this, and she decided to take action by collecting information and evidence, more importantly, about these companies selling and training the dogs to the Israeli army and prison authority, um, report them to the animal welfare, find their employees, ban them from working with animals for life, and then involve human and animal rights organizations to enforce fines and compensation. Something I enjoyed about reading this application is you feel the rage build up as you read through it, and it like there's this sense of I will find you and I will kill you in the text, and it really embodies what the founder is trying to do. So this might seem like a simple research project, but I think we should all acknowledge the effort our brave founder has to spend digging for evidence. This can be draining mentally and emotionally. I personally find it very difficult to stomach or even read one of these witness accounts. So mind you, going through a pile of them. Project is still, again, in its concept phase as well. It's a recent joiner. And on that, I have my first question to Paul. Paul, how can T4P help with finding evidence on crimes committed by canines or by the trainers of the canines, more like it?
So, if people have seen content or articles or research about it, and especially if you've heard of companies that are in your area, in your country, that are providing these dogs for training, that is one area. Sort of get in touch with the project lead, and you can do that in the Canine Legal Action channel on Discord. But one of the other interesting ways here is that this isn't just a campaign for people who are interested in Palestine and protecting Palestinians, but it's also something that's for people who love dogs, which is vast majority of the world. And from a strategic point of view, Tech for Palestine looks for ways of bringing the Palestinian narrative into other areas, to people who haven't heard about Palestine, and to tell the story of how their concerns and our concerns have have a lot of overlap, and it's intersectional. So this is really something where animal rights committees, dog lovers, dog influencers, there's so many people who can be brought this story. So if you are connected to those sort of people, if you are part of animal welfare societies, or know animal influencers, or that sort of thing, that's another way that we would love to get in touch, and be able to do collabs, build support through those communities.
Thank you, Paul. I think it's something that every human being can sympathize with. Okay, so that was let's see, canine legal action. The next one, Ummah, your digital Muslim community. Now, Ummah means nation, or the Muslim nation. Global Zionism thrives on our differences and fragmentation globally, everyone. But this is especially true of the Muslim Ummah or nation. Muslims have this collective consciousness of a common identity, of a nation that strives to make the world a better place and stand up against oppression and injustice, which doesn't really work well for Israel embodying these values essentially. So the Zionist state has spent decades attempting to spread discourse amongst Muslims, most recently even using their cyber warfare unit, Unit 8200, comments, fake profiles, and the like on social media, focusing on discord and spreading differences. So our founders are trying to go in the other direction by uniting the Ummah, by bringing Muslims together. And they're doing that by building what they call the digital infrastructure for the Ummah. Ummah application is a digital ecosystem built on Islamic values, unifying masjids or mosques, events, and businesses into one platform. They empower communities with features like verified data, ethical social engagement, and powerful event management tools. What I really like about it is they also have an ambassador, a highly leveraged ambassador program, which aims to have a decentralized, grassroots, worldwide expansion. So these ambassadors will take this to more cities, more countries, more communities or Muslim communities throughout the world. To speak a bit about the founders, this is a high caliber team who have built enterprise products and delivered viral growth before. So you know what they're doing. It's not the first time that they've built a capable product. And this is launched. So you can go ahead and check it out on theummah.io or on any of the app stores. So far, they have more than 1,000 downloads and active users globally. So I really like a project that is already launched and you can feel it and touch it. That said, Paul, this sounds like the perfect database for Big Brother, right? Select all users, round them up. So what's the level of consciousness that our founders have around security, and what controls do they have in place?
So it's interesting because we see a lot of projects that are in the sort of general category of by Muslims for Muslims, and the it kind of makes sense because Zionists are targeting Islamophobia as one of their major sort of messages at the moment, in terms of turning turning people against the Palestinian cause. Well, if they can turn them against Muslims and Islam, then that's kind of like part of the strategy. So I would say specifically to what you're asking, the Muslim community I think knows an awful lot about how these sort of things can be weaponized. Every Muslim founder that I've met, and sort of like tech Muslim communities tend to be pretty well versed in sort of the most security that they can do. Fundamentally, one of the challenges of community applications, though, is that fundamentally to be a community, you have to actually be connected to people, and you have to create those connections to people. So I think there is sort of like one of those big trade-offs, and truly that's what they want, right? They want you to hide and to not work together. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Paul. And all the luck to the team in making sure that this is a secure application. Moving to the next one, bias proof. I have to acknowledge the founder is far smarter than I am. So I'm going to read what they wrote word for word. I really like the way they describe the project. There's nothing I would change about that. So this is a media bias app highlighting tool for deterring the users from blindly reading articles from biased media sources. It analyzes the news articles on the fly, runs deep search on them, finds affiliations and motives that explain the basis for bias, and can run fact checking to dent the credibility of these articles before a user reads it. The best thing about this kind of application is what I do every morning when I'm going through my news feed is I would look at the story from 5 different angles, right? We can no longer trust any single news source and have to form our own opinions. I think the last 2 years or more than 2 years have even taught us more lessons in this direction. This application leverages the power of AI to do that research on our behalf. So AI using or being used for something good, whether it's on the Palestine issue, whether it's on any other topic. This is a tool that can be helpful for, I think, millions who are interested in news but want to make sure that they don't get swayed in one direction or the other by the mainstream media outlets. Now, in terms of the medium of delivery, because this is still a concept, this can be a browser plugin or an app. The founder is still doing their research, considering that. The founder is an AI engineer who actually started this as a pilot that they used personally and are taking it from there to something that benefits all of us, hopefully. Uh, Gets me to think immediately about NewsCord, Paul. Quite similar. In your view, what are the key differentiators? And let me help you out. There's been a world in difference in Gen AI since NewsCord. Has that manifested in any way in the features or in the differences between the two apps?
Yeah, so I think that there's some sort of like difference in technology, between the range of media bias apps that we support and others that are out there. But I think the main sort of thing is the audience for them. So, for example, Media Bias Meter and NewsCord, they do very similar stuff. There's a lot of overlap in terms of what they do and how they do it. But Media Bias Meter works with watchdog agencies, media literacy groups, and produces or helps produce reports about specific media outlets, whereas NewsCord is far more focused on a direct consumer market. Has an app for news readers themselves to use and to read and to understand the media. This one is a little bit focused on social media and trying to understand how the bias spreads throughout social media, and how the media bias is spread on social media, and making sure that when these articles are shared on social media, that the bias of the articles is brought to the attention of the readers.
Got you. Looking forward for an even more advanced version of NewsCord. I would hope to say it would be great to have both applications on our portfolio, catering to even a bigger set of audiences. I think in this case, indeed, the more the merrier. Okay, so moving to the next one, MedSupport Gaza. MedSupport Gaza is a digital health platform that is designed to bridge the critical healthcare access gap in Gaza. Similar areas with crises, this works everywhere where you have a crisis and scarcity of healthcare services. It connects patients, volunteers, doctors for remote medical consultation. The intent of the platform, the founders are trying to support people who cannot access clinics due to either overcrowding, due to the high costs, or even conflict. The app will help patients find available medicines in nearby pharmacies as well. So it's finding the doctors, remote appointments, and also helps with finding the medicines. And what I find really interesting about it is the level of scalability that this project has. Uh, Beyond just the applicability in any conflict zone whatsoever and the immediate need or benefit that this would have in Palestine, I would say this is scalable as the team also intends to do with partnerships. So the team wants to partner with NGOs and other groups that are interested in providing healthcare in conflict zones. And this immediately gives you a different level in terms of the access to SMEs, to doctors, to the quality of service. So this acts as a platform that immediately provides care to patients who are in desperate need for it. Paul, one last question for you. I just thought of this one. This is healthcare, and healthcare usually needs some special guardrails. I don't think we have done many of those in T4P. So, what's been your experience so far coaching the team? Does anything stand up as a specific concern or compliance activity that the team has been focusing on?
So we've avoided doing healthcare at T4P because we, it can be something that's easy to do wrong, and primarily we're focused on advocacy, but we do like to support projects within Gaza, obviously, and so this one came to us, and one of the things we noticed is that it was currently being done, the sort of like, pre-app version of it was being done, across WhatsApp groups and that sort of thing. And so it was something where, suffice to say the HIPAA compliance was not top of priority for people who were, in a war zone. So it was definitely something where the app itself, has much better, security and much better, uh, support for the right kind of privacy than could be had in what was being done before. But longer term, we are trying to bring on some form of sort of healthcare committee at Tech for Palestine that can support us on sort of like these decisions and what projects to bring on and vetting and that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to seeing Med support as a major success. And I guess this kind of project, the faster that we bring it to life, the more volunteers there is, the more partnerships, the better and the immediate impact that we can have on the lives of Palestinians. I'm thinking also people in Sudan and across the world where there is a conflict. The Med Support Gaza solution is up and running. You can find, I think the team will drop the links online. You're able to visit their website, and they also look for volunteers, especially medical professional volunteers. So if you have that in you, please do have a look and apply. Now, I'm conscious of time. I think I'm a bit overexcited about the amount of projects and how diverse the set of projects that we have today. I'll probably cover one more, and I'm going to apologize to our friends from Share City and the campaign against the anti-Muslim hate. We'll cover those in the next call. Otherwise, Azza will be really upset with me for messing up her schedule. Right, so let's talk about Justice 48. Justice 48 bridges the grassroots activism and legal advocacy to empower communities worldwide in the fight for Palestinian justice. They provide legal education, combat disinformation, and they connect advocates to meaningful legal action through the Justice Tracker platform, creating unified front demanding accountability for the ongoing genocide and decades of systematic oppression. The website for Justice 48 is up and running. It's justice48.org. You can look at that. And the founder profile is quite impressive. Someone who's fled Egypt, migrated because of his activism, and has worked heavily on combating anti-migration narratives, who's focused on human rights and advocacy in general for decades. So they bring their experience and their energy into this project. So just keeping us on time, that is Justice 48 for you. I want to remind everyone about the incubator, all these amazing projects that you saw today. If you think you have a similar idea, a similar concept that you can transform or you want to transform into a reality, the T4P incubator can help you, whether with coaching, whether with guidance, whether with connecting you to SMEs. We run multiple sessions of office hours a week, and we can even support you with things like bootstrap funding to keep things started, and volunteers. And volunteers is the keyword where I hand over back to Azza. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mohammed. I would never be mad at you. But thank you. Great projects, and yeah, it was just lots of exciting stuff and lots of ways you can get involved. And we'll talk about some of those ways next. So, as Mohammed mentioned, several of our projects, we're at over 80 now. There are always different needs, very specific roles and expertise that projects need. I'll highlight just a couple here, but I encourage you all to check out our website and check out the open positions for volunteering for the full list of roles and projects where we have need. So the few that I'll highlight, this is just an ongoing need for video editors, motion designers. We have several projects, including T4P's internal team, where this expertise, as well as social media, generalist manager expertise is in demand. So if you have these types of skills, please feel free, and you have the time, please reach out to us and let us know. Check out the different projects. If there's a project you're interested in, let us know that. If it's just put me to use wherever you can use me, let us know. But yeah, we will continue to have needs for social media, digital marketeers, video editors, and so on for our projects. The others that I'll point out are kind of in the accounting and finance tax related areas. So Tribex, if you have skills, accounting skills in France, then there's definitely a need with the Tribex team. Let us know if that's something you can support. For these roles and the other roles, if you have, 4 to 5 hours a week, that's enough to really move the needle and make a difference if that's something you can commit to reliably. We are also looking for a tax and accounting specialist for our tax compliance initiative, in making sure we're keeping charities accountable. So these are great areas if you have these expertise where you can lend your skills and time and really help advance the projects quite a bit. Additionally, we're looking for some specific technical roles. There are more listed on the website, but the one I'll highlight here is for Ethics VC, for a front-end developer, kind of focused on WordPress and application UI. If that's something you have time to participate in, you can check out the website for all the details. Let us know, and then we'll talk more about membership in the coming section. But as we are kind of ramping up our new model, we are looking for onboarding and community care volunteers to help with membership onboarding. You would be one of the first faces of Tech for Palestine to newly join members. You would be doing onboarding calls. You'd help people kind of understand the T4P model and help them engage and figure out where they can add value based on their skills and interests, adding them to our tool. So it's a very important role for us. And ideally, we're looking for people that have at least 8 to 10 hours a week that they can commit to this and are comfortable and available to do video calls and meet with people kind of face-to-face remotely, and follow up with members as needed as well. So if that is an interesting role, we'll provide tools and resources and scripts to use as we look to gear up our membership program. Again, lots of ways to get involved. This is just one of them. We'll touch on some other ways, but if you are interested in volunteering, I'd say be realistic about how many hours you can reliably commit to, and what your goals are and what you're looking for. Look at our open positions, submit a volunteer form, and let us know where you're able to contribute and your time availability and the skills you have, and we'll do our best to find a great match on one of our projects or internally at T4P. I want to share briefly a little bit about Mighty Missions. It's a community that we launched not that long ago, and we've had real great success. It's a way for people that don't have maybe a ton of time or just have availability and they're willing to help support very small but meaningful actions that have real impact. We launched it a few months ago. We have a Discord community and we have a Signal group, and we've had lots of success so far. So each week, sometimes multiple times a week, we share a mission. These missions are curated by our team. We look at them. We look for things that are kind of simple to execute, simple but still very strategic and powerful. Don't require a lot of skills, don't require a lot of experience, don't require a lot of time. Really something that anyone can do immediately or when they have time, or for projects or ideas that they're interested in. And by doing it this way and opening it up to several people worldwide, it allows us to have very strategic impact and make a difference. And we've seen really good success with that. I can share just a couple of examples. We will commonly share projects that are early stage or they're getting ready to launch, and they want some additional user testing, QA testing, or they're just looking for feedback from the community. We've been able to really mobilize a team of people very quickly, identify bugs and issues, add meaningful feedback that really helps support a more successful launch when we do go live. It's a great way to also learn about some of the new things that are coming in advance. You get to test it out. You get to check out what folks are working on, and you're working directly with the project leaders themselves as you are providing, valuable input or helping us get the word out about something like Upscrolled or apps that are already live. So I encourage you guys, check out Mighty Missions if you haven't already. It is, like I said, these are simple things you can choose to do or not, depending on your availability and time. But you will get, a couple times a week, ideas of ways you can directly take action and do something meaningful. With that, I want to transition back to Paul to talk about our new membership model. Lots of exciting things happening here. And so, Paul, I'll give you the floor.
Thanks, Aza. Yeah, and I mentioned this a little bit last month, where we were starting to look at our membership model, and we were sort of like testing things out. So the primary problem that we've had with getting people involved into the movement is how, we had this volunteering model where you would apply and we put you in a database, and then we'd reach out when some of the projects needed you. And this had a lot of limitations, and so we've been thinking about how do we want to enable all the people who have wanted to get in touch. And often people would send us messages saying like, I signed up to volunteer 6 months ago or a year ago, and you haven't reached out to me. So we're trying to flip things around a little bit, and we're switching it to where if you apply to be a member, and member means we can do a little bit more than just sort of volunteer. There's a component of representing when T4P speaks. Now all of its members we sort of represent in a little bit of a way. But when you sign up as a member, you also get put onto, well, you get handheld into some work to do for the movement. So that can be advocacy work, and for the most part we want people to be doing advocacy work. It can be helping one of the projects. It can be joining. We're building a ton of committees internally at Tech for Palestine to both do the sort of incubator work of supporting projects, as well as the all these new advocacy initiatives that we want to kick off. And that's kind of the idea of it. By leveraging all these folks who are trying to get involved and who have been trying to get involved, we can do a lot more work, and particularly work that touches a lot more on the tech industry and those kind of changes. So the membership model overlaps strongly with the committee model, where we're switching things around, where there will be there are already dozens of committees, and there will be hundreds of committees. And a committee is just it's just a small, very specific unit of work. So there's committees, for example, we are creating a committee. We haven't actually done it yet. For example, to reach out to tech companies and ask them for discounts for Palestinian startups. So that's kind of like one example of the many, many things that we want to do to get the tech industry more sympathetic to Palestine, more focused around liberation and helping Palestinian economy and Palestine advocacy. So if you want to take part in this, if you want to be a member of T4P, we will be spinning it up over the next probably really kicking off in March is my hope that we'll be announcing publicly. And at the moment, what we're doing is we're getting people from, who are a little bit tighter in T4P, who take part in the Discord, who sign up for these meetings, who know a little bit more about T4P. We're trying to get you in the door first so that the things will go a little bit smoother. So if you want to join, you can go to techforpalestine.org/membership. I'm sure someone is dropping a link on whatever platform you're on, and sign up for the membership. It is, we do charge for membership, which is a little bit odd. Well, it's normal for membership, but it's odd to sort of like, put you to work after you pay, but that's sort of the model a little bit. But it is pay what you can, and with room for, if you're unbanked or something like that, you can get an exemption on that. And the idea is very much have motivated people come in, and we will get you on a call, and we will try to figure out where we can leverage your skill set, what committees we can get you to take part in, maybe what projects can we get you to join, that sort of thing, based on your time, your availability, and how you want to get involved. So go on, sign up as a member, fill that out, and hopefully we will get to you at the front of the list over the next couple of weeks, or in March, where we'll be doing it in more earnest and a little more at scale.
Great, super, Paul. Thank you, and very exciting. I think it's a very important milestone for Tech for Palestine. We've had great success in the couple of years we've been around, and some really great projects coming out of the team, and up to almost 100 projects already. And this is a great way to one, allow us to scale to several thousand projects, and a great way for folks that are truly committed to really show their commitment level and participate much more actively and directly. So super excited for this, and let's look forward to seeing how this evolves over the next several months. So lots of other ways to get involved. I mean, membership's definitely one. And for those that may not have the time but want to support our work, we are a nonprofit and we do accept donations. Donations, I mean, this work goes directly into helping fund all the different initiatives we have and provide things like Mohammed said, bootstrapping, project leaders, the ability to provide grants to cover just basic costs of infrastructure. Oftentimes our leaders are coming out of pocket on getting their things to market. So these donations really matter and they really help out quite a bit. Continue to follow us. You know, our community continues to grow, the movement keeps building, and it makes a difference. There is strength in numbers, and so join our discussion, stay active, follow us on the different socials we're on, and share with your friends and family. Just help get the word out about Tech for Palestine. So before I wrap up quickly, I've just paused to see if we have any questions we want to cover. And if I go to the comments, I think I'm going to lose my screen. Is there anything, Paul or Mar, that you guys want to highlight?
There's a couple that I see. So one question from Ahmed: I'd love to be on the incubator team. How can I be involved? So we are sort of like breaking up the incubator team into different committees with the goal of allowing people, allowing members to get more involved. So the way there is to join as a member, and we will figure out where in the incubator team you can be most useful and where we need it the most. And then this other question I see from Solana: do you have a vetting process for volunteers to ensure they aren't there to sabotage? We do actually. That is something that we have been putting together at the moment as part of the membership thing. So we're looking for do we actually know who these folks are, and how they have been involved in the movement before. Do they know other people from the movement? Can people vouch for them? Those are some of the questions that we'll be checking. It's not those aren't either or. We're looking for sort of a holistic view of someone, and then there are also places where you can support, even maybe not if you're completely unverified, but if no one knows you, for example. There's different layers of security that we'll be doing. It doesn't take a whole lot of security for someone to be able to, for example, support Upscrolled by sharing it on social media. So we'll be careful of different people's different ability to be public or to be known or to be identified. We've done quite well with that in the past, so we'll be continuing.
Hey, I've noticed a few questions on LinkedIn, just some simple guidance. Several people wanted to contribute to some of the projects. So if you go to the techforpalestine.org website, get involved, join our Discord community. There you can find a channel for each of the projects, and you can interact directly with the project owner. There are plenty of other ways to be involved, but if you want to talk to project owners or contribute or collaborate with a project owner, you can directly speak to them through Discord.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed, for pointing that out. It is a great way to really get plugged into our projects and collaborate with communities and projects you're interested in. Great. Any other, and I'm sorry, I can't see all the questions, so I'm relying on the team to help. Are there any other questions we want to answer for anyone?
One that I see here: how about private crowdfunding to support new tech? I mean, in essence, that is what donating to Tech for Palestine is. So please feel free to donate or to become a member. which sort of same thing. So very much appreciated.
All right. If there are no other questions, then I'll wrap up and just say thank you all for joining us, for staying part of the community, and thank you to the community team for helping us host this and managing all the behind the scenes. If you guys have any questions or feedback about this session, the format, anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, I wish you guys all the best. Happy Ramadan for all those that will start fasting next week, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Thank you all.